Hello, welcome to Home of Politics. Today, let us focus on the Mount Kenya region, especially on their politics. And something that is very funny with this region is that they have a lot of complaints despite being represented very well in the government by their leaders. For example, we have been hearing of so many complaints from Mount Kenya regions. They call themselves Kikuyu. These people are very selfish. They like talking about themselves alone. And so when they talk about the politics of Mount Kenya, it is something to do with their own benefit. And we've been hearing of the blame games. This community have been blaming their leaders who are in the government, starting from the number 2 in command, that is Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. And it sounds like these leaders are not doing enough to satisfy their people. Or I don't know, the demands of their people is what is too much for these leaders to meet. But actually, if you compare this community with other communities in Kenya, right now, they are in a better position. They are well represented. Comparing their numbers, whenever they complain about something, that togetherness or their voice is being heard at a very high speed compared to other communities, and so they feel like they have some sort of superiority in their community that is making them to feel special. And so if we can come to instances where they have been favored in the government, you wonder why they are complaining or what they want. The first thing that we featured out this year, we see in the appointment of the cabinet secretaries. Of course, we see so many dockets are dominated by the leaders from this region or from this community, starting with the ministry, the public service. We see the interior security, we see the agriculture. Almost big dockets have been assigned to these people from the community, but their complaints are very many compared to the other communities. You also see the time when the deputy president assumed his office. This is Honorable Rigathi Gachagua. He stated very well that his work ni kusukuma agenda ya Mlima Kenya na atapigania agenda ya Mlima Kenya, and of course we have been seeing him pushing towards all agendas coming towards him and Mount Kenya. For instance, the other day we saw he went to Colombia to represent and to find market for our coffee farmers in Kenya. And we know very well that Mount Kenya region is best place where they are doing farming of coffee. And so this was to benefit a lot of people from this region since they are the coffee farmers. And the other day we also saw that the milk or dairy farmers in Kenya, for instance, Murang'a County, they benefited with the milk coolers from the government. And this is a progress which has been pushed by their leaders who are in the government. We also see the other day some of the complaints came up from every corner of social media because the public was feeling like some of the CS were incompetent. For instance, they had pushed the agenda of someone losing the job, resigning, or being punished because of incompetence. But what the deputy president said, he came out defending his people because he knew the weakness of the person whom the public is pushing so much for resignation or losing the job is someone from his own community, from Mount Kenya. And he gave out a threat saying that Mount Kenya region is one and united. If you only touch on one leader, that he meant that if one leader is being displaced from his or her own job, or if he loses the office, then it will cause tension to all Mount Kenya leaders, comparing that the government right now is having a good number of leaders from Mount Kenya community. And so it was a threat that led to some of these cabinet secretaries being shifted from one ministry to another, just a reshuffle instead of losing their job, only because the deputy president defended them. And so when you look keenly into these matters, it is very clear that the community of Mount Kenya or the leaders from Mount Kenya, they are pushing their agendas while they are together. Their community in the same spirit are always complaining that they have been forgotten, they have not been included in the government. We also saw the other day when the propaganda of shareholding in the government came up, and it brought a lot of disunity because we felt like Mount Kenya region are claiming, or they are bragging so much they are the people who put this government in power, forgetting that there are other communities who also voted. But it made the deputy president to bring this idea of making this community feel like they are more superior than other communities in Kenya. And so we really wonder why these people are still complaining or what they want. But I don't know if these offices should be run according to what they want. But right now things have changed because from the residents of Mount Kenya, others affiliated in political parties, others are just people who are not involved in politics, but they are complaining so much that their leaders are doing nothing to save them.
As I had said earlier, if there is a big lie that has been given in the last 1 year, that it should actually be put in the Guinness Book of World Record as the biggest lie of the year, is being told that the people of this region are shareholders in this government. People of this region cannot be shareholders in this government, and the money that was allocated to their projects by the previous administration has been taken away and redirected to other projects elsewhere, as if they are children of a lesser God and they do not deserve those projects. Also, money men, we have seen issues of water, our roads that were ongoing and money had already been allocated is no longer there. Those roads are not the continuation, the construction has halted. So we are asking, where is our money and why is it being taken elsewhere if indeed we are shareholders? And when our MPs try to talk about it and to voice our concerns, they are given a phone call and they are told do not talk about that matter. When our ministers try to address these issues within ministers from this region, when they try to address those issues from within their dockets, they are wanangolewa, wanapelekwa wizara zingine ndio waache kuongea hiyo maneno. Na ndio waogope na iwe onyo kwao na kwa wengine mambo ya Mount Kenya wasiongelee. We are saying that is not our house. We have been taking comfort in someone else's house and saying we belong there. We have to build our own house where we can voice our concerns, where we will not be intimidated, where we will not be told that someone is holding a sword, ready to deal with us if we start asking questions. So I'm asking our people from this region, so that our leaders in parliament can have a voice. We need to build our own house called Jubilee, where if they are chased away from the other side, or they are intimidated, I think Gachagua is a shareholder in government. And whoever else feels he's a shareholder because they have government appointments, that does not represent the rest of us. That is regarding Gachagua and his office. It does not represent Mount Kenya because he never talks about Mount Kenya. People have been dying in Lamu, Kikuyus. People are being harassed in Eldoret. He does not talk. I have not heard him talk about Lamu. I have not heard him talk about Nyamakema traders. But he's telling us we are shareholders. Hiyo ni kiti yake yeye mwenyewe. Haituhusu. Yeye haituhusu. So that is his position. As regarding Gachagua, it does not belong to Mount Kenya or to the Kikuyu community. Thank you very much. Yes.
The other day we saw the group led by Madhakarua. This is under the NAC party of Kenya. They were complaining that this region has been left behind. They are not being prioritized. The other day we have seen Jubilee party led by these people from Jubilee who are still in Azimio. They are complaining bitterly that Mount Kenya have been forgotten, especially the Kikuyus. They are going to an extent of mentioning Lamu, Eldoret, only featuring out those Kikuyu communities that are staying in different regions. It means that if other people are suffering, it is none of their business, but they're only singling out these other regions that are their own community. And so up to that extent, we see that there is some selfishness in this community. And the way they are complaining, sometimes it can convince us that this community is very, very much marginalized. Maybe it is among the communities that are not represented very well, or the few communities that are found in Kenya, like the Subas, yeah, you know, those marginalized community. Also, there are complaints that is coming every time. You might think that the old Mount Kenya region or these Kikuyu communities, they are staying in the hardship areas like in desert or those regions like Garissa. But that is not the fact or the real thing that is happening. It is just that they are complaining so much, and at least they have those good leaders who are representing them. What about other communities that have not managed to have their own leaders in big position in the government? What can they say, or who can help them? And so up to this extent, we see that as much as their leaders are fighting for them so much, the community is also complaining, and it's leaving us in a situation whereby we are confused. We don't know if it is true they are being denied what they are demanding for, or it is just to confuse other communities, but in real sense they are reaping big in this leadership, in this politics, and in their progress, just as the other communities are expecting. I don't know, because we are confused. You see, leaders are struggling so much to prioritize this community, but the community itself is fighting the leaders again, saying that they are not doing anything to save them. We are confused. Anyone should tell us what is really happening on the ground, because we really need to know, because they say that even if the deputy president is in the government, they are not part and parcel of the shareholders, only because they don't feel like they are satisfied. Who can put us in the limelight so that we can see these things happening? And up to now, we feel like the politics of Mount Kenya is really confusing us, because on one side they are complaining, but on one side more opportunities are awarded to this community from Mount Kenya. What do you think about this? Send me ideas in the comment section. Have a good day.